update on some of the road issues that we have by Omak Lake, and I think he'll probably make an announcement too for the opening of the road subreservation. Then after that, John McLean will be here to give updates on his new position here with gaming. He has taken over Randy Williams' position. He will be in charge of all 3 casinos. And one of his biggest concerns, of course, is this casino here, Casino Resort Hotel, whatever you want to call it. And we've had some pretty poor times here in Waialaca. You know, we haven't had that many patrons, and the fires have caused a lot of hardships that we didn't expect. So, so John will give an update on what he's doing to bring people back here, the immediate changes he's doing, and then possibly some of his longer range plans for this casino and for gaming in general. And I think it all looks good to me. All of the casinos, the C-stores, working on Rainbow Beach, you know, adding in all these improvements, the Givers Orchards and all those things that we're kind of diversifying our income base to where we'll be able to afford a lot of things that everybody wants, like wellness centers or treatment centers. So right now we don't have, you know, the budget's pretty spent, and it's hard to plan for the future. We don't have new monies. This will be new monies. Okay, so that's big. John will talk a little bit on his business philosophy.
Were we going to start with the prayer?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
I was waiting for you to get done swallowing.
I did.
Okay, so Lou, will you do us a prayer?
Good evening. With all the issues we have at hand with the council and with all the people and things that matter to all of us, I would like to thank our beloved Creator for this day. Give us all the strength, the courage, and the wisdom to do what we must do, to help our people, to be there for our people, to listen to our people, to know and learn what is best for all, not just a few. Lord, give us the strength to protect our resources that have been so badly damaged. Teach our people how to renew these resources, how to work together to make them come back. We're missing a lot for this next year. So we need to work together. We need to help one another. We need to care for one another. Beloved Creator, watch over our children, our grandchildren, and those to come. Take care of the elders, take care of the ill, take care of those suffering from alcohol and drugs. Beloved Creator, again, thank you for this day.
Hey, Brent. I don't know if you want to share.
Oh, no, I can stand.
Yeah, I almost did. We'll bring it up for you. Just pull Liz's chair out from under.
Good evening, I'm Brenda Condon. I'm the enrollment officer. So today I'm going to talk about, just kind of give some information on the life insurance policy that the tribe agreed to adopt. I apologize, I left my handouts at my house, so I will make sure that the handouts get here at the next meeting. So first of all, about a month ago, the tribe agreed to accept our proposal for Symetra with Symetra company. They offer life insurance. What that is it's not really like life insurance like what we think life insurance is. What this policy is going to allow us to do, it's still going to be the wake and burial benefits. Now, we've talked, my department, as some of you know, and most of you know, that we deal with the wake and burial benefits when somebody passes away. We also, what comes with that, we also have to deal with and try to figure out how we can make the policy better, how we can help the families that are left behind, because we're the ones that have to pay for everything. Especially if we don't have life insurance, funeral insurance, it's very costly. So right now, our wake and burial benefits total $3,800. You get $800 for the wake, which is like the funeral and whatever you need to use it for. And then we have the $3,000 burial grant. Within that $3,000 burial grant, the casket and the liner gets subtracted out of that $3,000, and the remaining balance goes to the funeral home. Approximately the average amount that gets to the funeral home is about $1,900. That's not a lot of money. An average funeral in our area, roughly, just at the funeral home, is about $5,000. Now, when you start looking at, that's just the money that we provide, is the $3,800. What most families don't see is the in-kind services that we offer. The public works, opening and closing of the grave, IT department with the flyers, memorial cards, the tribal PD with the escort services. We've got food distribution, who gives food and sometimes monetary benefit for the wake. We've got the community centers and all their staff, all the longhouse staff. So an average funeral for a tribal member right now is about $11,000. But we only see $3,800, right? Because we only see the money. So the in-kind services, that's a lot of money. So how can we offset this? You know, we go to council, but our budgets are small, they're limited. You know, we can't really offer a lot of benefits and can't expand what we need to expand. So what we came up with is that we have a company, Symetra, that does offer, they work with 50 other tribes, and they offer this life insurance. So we met with them to discuss what we can, what the policy is all about, what it entails, how invasive it is to the tribal member. And right now, I was the devil's advocate at the meeting, because when it sounds too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is too good to be true. So right now, we have a policy for $7,500 per tribal member. Those premiums are going to be paid on a monthly basis. Excuse me. And so it's not ever going to interrupt any service. So the process is going to be the same. If a family member or a loved one passes away, you come to enrollment. And then, we provide the wake and burial benefits just as normal. You get the casket, you get the liner, you get whatever you need. The blanket. Nothing's going to be delayed with this process. The only thing is the delay is the reimbursement to the tribe for this funding. So when you come in, you get that. What we do is we now file a claim with Symetra, and then we get that money back. So right now, we're not able to increase our benefit right now because we wanted to, we exploded everything, and that's why we didn't come to the district meetings right away, because we wanted to see if this was going to work first. And we wanted to make sure that it wasn't invasive, it wasn't going to delay services. So that's why we weren't hiding anything. We just wanted to make sure it was going to work for us. And so now, everybody knows, and that's fine. It's just we're doing it month to month because we want to make sure that it works. If it doesn't work, we're not going to do it. What it will allow us to do is start raising our benefit to the tribal member. So a lot of us have dealt with the loss of families, and we had to pay those costs. Many of us in here had to do that. It's a hardship, especially you have to also purchase flowers and all the other stuff that goes with a funeral. So right now, for these first few months, until we can figure out how it goes, the benefit's going to stay the same. What we're going to also do, once we start getting comfortable and everything's working the way it should be, we're going to try to we will increase the benefit to $4,500 with the $7,500 premium. So what the remaining balance is doing, it's not going back to the tribe. It's not going back to anything. What it's doing is it's paying those premiums. So it's gonna be a self-funded policy, insurance, that's gonna allow us to increase the benefit. So what's that gonna do is gonna free up our budget with the tribe. You know, so because this program's just gonna fund itself. So once that, the pot gets going and the payments are all paid, the premiums are paid, we start building this pot, we're gonna up the benefit to a $10,000 policy. So then that'll up the benefit to $5,000 to the tribal member. So when this starts going again and we start building that pot and we get all the premiums paid and you still have this pot of money growing, what we're gonna do is we're going to create a fund for headstones. Because many of us, you know, have to purchase those out of pocket and they're pretty spendy. Some people just go without headstones. So now we're gonna be able to offer a headstone fund. Not all of them, it's gonna be a limit, of course. You know, so we're not gonna pay for all of it unless you get a cheaper headstone or a smaller headstone, whichever, find a good deal. So we'll be able to pay a portion to the headstone. And then the next half of that pot of money is we're gonna start being able to open that up for memorials. We won't purchase the gifts for the memorials. What we'll do is start helping with the food. So three things are coming out of this policy. Don't look at it as the tribe making money off of people passing away. It's not that. We're trying to find a way to increase and help the benefit, to alleviate that out-of-pocket expense. Because you're already dealing with a lot of stress at that time. You don't need to deal with any more financial stress. So we get to increase our benefit. You know, down the road, when the pot starts growing, we get to start doing a headstone fund, and then we get to start doing a memorial fund. So those are three positive things. Also, as now, since our policy started on March 1st, each tribal member also has two little perks going on here. We have one, which is identity theft. Some of us have dealt with that, identity theft, me personally. So now what happens, if you realize somebody has stolen your identity or stolen anything of, you know, that's gonna create identity theft, you call them, call Symetra, call me, I'll give you the number, and we'll start getting you the packets. They'll help you start restoring your credit back to normal. They'll give you all the paperwork that you need to do, point you in the right direction on where you need to go to start this process. They won't give you any money, unfortunately, but they will help you with the process of restoring your credit back, getting your identity back, and stopping all the false charges against you or whatever. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, it's free to you. It's no out-of-pocket expense, nothing. It's free. So the other thing is travel assistance insurance. What this does is if you're on travel, you lose your luggage, or they lose their luggage, our luggage, they'll help you locate the luggage. They'll work with the airlines to make sure that you guys, they know where you are, that they're working on getting your luggage. They will they'll front you $500, but you have to pay it back to get the necessities that you need. You know, undergarments, toothbrush, everything, they'll set you up with that. Another thing is if you're on travel and you get sick and you end up in the hospital, they will make sure that they transport you to the hospital at no extra charge. Now, if you're like flying somewhere, and let's say you're in Hawaii or something, your whole family's there, and they have to come home, or because they can't afford to do anything, or your plans have totally changed because now you're in the hospital, they will pick up the cost to reschedule those flights. So it's a pretty good insurance policy. So, and if you forget your medicine, or you need medicine, you're there, you're sick, need medicine, they'll pay for the medicine that you need to get, while you're there. If you are on travel, you drop your glasses, they break, they'll replace your glasses for free. Another thing is if you are sick, you're in the hospital, and you have to stay there an extended period of time, they will, and you're by yourself, they will fly one family member down there to be with you at no charge to anybody. So it's a pretty good policy. You know, these all things are like too good to be true to me. And so, you know, I was totally the devil's advocate. I was like, so what is it gonna, in the end, what is it gonna cost the tribal member? Let's say I get sick, I break my leg, vacation's over, I have to go home right away. They said, we will pay the extra cost to get you home, to reroute, whatever. There's a natural disaster, the same thing. So anything that's out of your control, you know, they're gonna help you do whatever you need to do. If you get your wallet stolen, like I said, they'll front you $500. You have to guarantee to pay that back. But hopefully it's enough to get you by until you can get something else going. One other thing about this insurance was really concerning to me, and I was not on the fence at all because it was just too good to be true. Most life insurance is if you require a physical in order to get anything. We don't have to do any of that. I don't have to provide any names, date of births, gender, anything. All I provide to Symetra is our monthly enrollment count. So anybody who is eligible to be a tribal member that we enroll automatically is on the plan and included in that number. It's not invasive at all. Another bonus about this insurance is it does cover suicides. You know, our rate of suicide is increasing, and most life insurance policies, if you choose to take your own life, whether you're paying on the policy or not, they won't pay you. If it's not natural causes, accident, they won't pay. So, which is shocking because a lot of people are in an assumption that they do, but they don't. Another thing about this insurance is that it also covers stillborn children. You know, we've had, unfortunately, more than we like to have of stillborn births just recently, and they cover it. As long as we enroll that child, we're going to get reimbursed that funding. And most insurance policies, you know, you have to enroll, go through all this process before you're covered, and they're covering each tribal member as is right now. So whatever's in our code and whatever we offer right now, they're going to mirror that. And it's at no cost to the tribal member. I can't express that enough. There's no cost to the tribal member.
So are other tribes doing this that you're
Yeah.
aware of that is successful with?
Yep, we've had a lot of the southern tribes mainly. There's 50 tribes that Symetra works with, and I've contacted a couple and they're satisfied. They say the claims are reimbursed in a very timely manner. And that was one of my concerns, that we don't want to delay any services to the families that are in need. But we're just now dealing with 5 claims, so we'll see. You know, we'll see the process. The process right now in our claims is still very minimal. We give the tribal member's name and date of death and cause of death. That's it. You know, it sounds, you know, like, oh geez, the tribe's the beneficiary. We're the beneficiary so we can start building these programs. It's not going to go to any other, you know, department. It's going to stay right here so we can start making sure our tribal members are buried in a timely manner and in the fashion that they need to be buried.
Okay, my question was descendants and spouses of.
So we haven't, this policy does offer descendants and spouse of. We just haven't opted to do that yet because we wanted to make sure that it was going to work first with our tribal members. You know, if we because like I said, I'm still on the fence too, of this is too good to be true. So I want to make sure that it's working the way we expected it to work. And once we get, comfortable with this and it's flowing pretty good, we're gonna go back to the table and revisit that. And they already know we're going to do that, so they know my questions are coming. We'll see. We're gonna just take it stages by stages. We don't wanna, jump in with a big, huge premium where we're gonna go upside down in it. So we just wanna make sure right now, but right now, the tribe will keep the descendant and spouse of benefits. Those are not gonna go away. We're still gonna have those. It's just they're not part of our insurance. Yeah.
I would like to know in your process and whatnot, if you guys have like guidelines to go by. I know that I built one for my family and what all protocols you have to do and whatnot. My sister passed away, family members have passed away in the hospital, and we transported them from Spokane to Omak and whatnot, and that's usually out of pocket. The grant doesn't cover that and whatnot. And some tribal members think that the tribe just covers everything, and they don't know and whatnot. And if you're transporting them, you have to go to public health department and get their death certificate, and that's out of pocket. And a lot of it is out of pocket and whatnot, and a lot of people don't know. And so I get these phone calls and whatnot, how do you do this, how do you do that, And, I said, well, call enrollment, they should have something like that.
We
Like a
do.
checklist.
We have a 3-page packet.
Well, I never asked for one, so I just asked
So
them now.
once somebody calls us and they come into our office, we give them every phone number they're gonna need to make sure the services are done. We give them all the process of what the WAIT grant covers, how much it is per person, whether you're a tribal member, descendant, a spouse of. We only cover first-line descendants and the spouse of. Now, if you get divorced and you don't remarry, then that non-member spouse is still covered. But if they remarry, they're not covered. We only pay, first-line descendants. When circumstances are really a burden, like we've had deaths that occurred when the individual was in Alaska. And when we know it's gonna be a huge burden, we will go to council, and they normally make an exception. We've moved away from exceptions because we were getting bombarded with exceptions. And so if it's really extreme circumstances, we're gonna try to do what we can when the transportation costs are too much of a burden. But when it's considered local, Spokane, Seattle, it is the family. The fortunate thing right now, though, is we have such a good relationship with Craig Harrison and Straits that they've pretty much washed a lot of it. So when we get the statements from Straits and Craig Harrison's, they give us the full amount, of what it costs. And I'll guarantee you it's about $3,000 to $5,000. We pay them, depending on the size of the individual, at a minimum, well, I would say at a maximum, we pay is $1,900. The rest they wash. We're very fortunate. If our portion that we pay is not enough, then of course you're gonna have an out-of-pocket expense. Straits is trying to work with us. I think the most right now with their out-of-pocket expense is $400. Yannicus is our most expensive funeral. Our goal is to make sure that we alleviate as much out-of-pocket expense as we can. We're lucky here on the reservation that of us that reside on the reservation or near the reservation. Because like I was telling you, our in-kind services are $11,000 on an average funeral. When you live off reservation, you're not so lucky. You don't get all the in-kind services. You have to pay for opening, closing the grave. You have to pay for the plot. A lot of people don't realize that. You don't get to put a wooden liner in those cemeteries off reservation. You have to have a special vault for that. You don't get to have a wooden casket. You have to order a metal casket. You have to pay for the facility to have the dinner. You have to pay for the priest. And it's not cheap. Those priests, it's a job to them now. It's not like it used to be, and it's not like it is here. For the priests, you know, they're part of our family. And so an average funeral off reservation is over $15,000. We've had to deal with a lot of funeral homes that will not release the body until full payment is made. That's a hindrance. It goes against most of our ways. So, you know, luckily we've been in this, I don't want to say business, but we've been in this for a long time, and we've been able to work around things for our tribal members. So, you know, it bothers us. We try to find a way to help. We try to find a way to make it better. You know, so this insurance is going to help us get to that next point. It sounds bad, I know. It sounds really bad. I do understand that, but it's a good thing that we're doing. And I just want people to realize that, and we're not making any money. It's just going to start increasing the benefit until hopefully at least most of us on the reservation won't have any out-of-pocket expense. But we still have to deal with the off-reservation members who have a huge out-of-pocket expense. Give just a second.
It sounds
Wait,
like,
it came back.
oh, I'm sorry.
Does this include, you know, like my mom's using Matilda, and would that include her too?
She's what?
You Matilda Indian?
Now, is she still married to your,
Yeah.
okay. So like I said before, that this policy right now doesn't cover spouse of and descendants, but we still offer a partial assistance to spouse of and descendants. Once this gets going and it's working the way, you know, we envision it to work, then we're going to go back to the table with the policy holder and start including spouse of and first line descendants. So whatever's in our policy now, they're going to try to mirror what we're doing. It's just right now, we could only afford to just cover our tribal members. And then, you know, once we start, like I said, building the pot and being able to free up some more money, then we'll go back to the table for that. But currently, yes, we still offer that, and it's not going to go away.
It sounds like it's almost like that Gerber Life grow-up plan, you know, where every person can be enrolled in a life insurance policy of some form, you know, at birth. And that's what it really sounds like. I mean, I've never really liked it, this thought of buying insurance for my, you know, my kids was not anything I did, but now that I'm getting a little older, my father-in-law who passed away had done that, you know, pretty much when he knew he was gonna leave. And he bought one of those, and it was a policy where they, regardless your age, your condition or anything, and luckily he did that, and that was one of the things that, and we actually had, I think we even had $1,500 over, and I think that he had up in him, you know, plus we did, so.
We looked at that as well.
Yeah.
That type
It
of
just sounds like
insurance. It was called Forethought. And what it is just funeral insurance. So what you do is you go and you lock in an amount with the funeral home. So let's say Craig Harrison, they said $3,500 is an average cost for a funeral. Then we would have had to pay $3,500 per tribal member, and we couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
We just could not afford to do that. So in this sense, you know, we have an average death rate of about 89 per year. So those 89 members are funding this policy for the living. You know, so they're still helping us when they're gone. So it's you know, I know it just sounds ugly, but we have to all deal with it. you know, the peace of mind, I guess, you know, we don't get nothing out of it today, but peace of mind that our family is not having to fork out a lot of money for our services.
My question was as far as cremations, because a lot of people are going that way now. So is that less expensive than regular burial? and
Yes.
all that? Okay.
Yes, it is, by about $1,000 or more, yeah, depending on what you do. Is there any other questions? Yes?
Since I was late getting here, do you have anything in writing?
That's what I just said. I left all of my handouts on my table at home, and I will make sure that they're at the next district meeting. I don't have any really handouts for the policy itself, but I do have handouts for the identity theft and the travel insurance.
Identity? Theft. Identity.
Yeah, with this policy, each tribal member has an identity theft policy. So if somebody steals your identity, you call me, I get you in touch with Symetra, they get you the proper paperwork to start the process to restore all of that. And, they, just work with the creditors, work with whoever, the banking institutions, so that they can start helping you restore your identity, and so it doesn't get totally out of control.
And this is all in the written package?
Yep, it's no cost to the tribal members. There is not 1 cent that comes from anybody.
And then he naturally hears things. If there's any excess, that goes back to the tribe, doesn't go to the family.
So what I explained earlier was that even though right now we have the policy that's only $3,000, we're not going to increase that right now, $3,800, but $3,000 for the funeral. We're not going to increase that until we get a good handle of how things are going to go. But eventually, within months, we're going to increase it up to $4,500. So $3,000 is excess, but what that does is it starts paying those premiums. So it's not money going back to the tribe to spend however they want. It's money going back to this premium so that we can free up our tribal funds. That is going to be freed up eventually, because all this excess is going to be going into the premiums. This policy is going to be self-sustaining.
So that's in writing that it cannot be used for anything else.
Well, it's not in writing per se, but it's under my control. So trust me, I'll be fighting for that money if anybody tries to take it. But there's not going to be a lot because it's going into our account that's paying the premiums. So that money's already spoken for. So if this policy is not what we envisioned, we can stop at any time. We are month to month right now, and if it's not working out, it's not doing what we envisioned, we can stop. And then we'll just go back to what it is today, $3,800. And most of you know that's not enough.
I'm glad you guys are doing this, but I got a couple of questions about
Sure.
it. I don't understand how they're gonna pay us, whatever they pay us, without giving them a death certificate.
We don't have, they do require, request one, but the claim itself pretty much has all the information on there. It's just very minimal though. And they would like a death certificate, but we told them that when we file our claim, we won't have the death certificate at that point. Because sometimes death certificates take a while to get to us.
Yeah.
And that's why some of our statements don't get paid in a timely manner, because we're still waiting for the death certificate.
But do you guys show
Especially
it
if
to
it's
them?
pending, like
You show it to them
overdose.
later?
Pardon?
You show it to them later?
And good question, because this is what I asked you, because it's basically an honor system. They're
Because-
trusting that we're doing our due diligence of following our policy, making sure that all the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted. When they don't, when we have they suspect fraudulent activity, then it's gonna get stricter. But right now, you know, they request a death certificate, but we don't have to provide it. But we do have to provide a lot of information on the claim itself.
Because what happens if they just think it's a suicide and they want their money back?
That's the beauty of it. They cover suicide.
They do?
They cover suicide and they cover stillborn.
I thought you said earlier they didn't cover suicide.
No, I said
She
they
said
do.
most
That's the
insurances
beauty.
won't.
Most insurance do not cover it, but this
Yeah.
policy covers suicides and stillborns.
And then the other policy, the other rider that was on it was that $500 that you gotta pay back.
That's if you
need
request it.
Yeah, if you need it. I don't see how you can call it insurance if you gotta pay it back.
It's not, that's a benefit.
But that's nice that you can do that.
But, I mean, you don't have to request it.
No.
I mean, you could lose your wallet and your family could wire you money.
Yeah.
But if you're in a tight spot, they're there to help as long as they get that $500 back. It's not, we're not paying them the $500.
Yeah.
They're doing that as part of the package. It's an enhancement. And so, you know, it's coming out of their pocket and it's just,
But what happens if you gotta fly home on a Friday night or Saturday night, you guys are not open?
you guys will have, we will, once, like I said, we didn't intend for this to get out right away, but they published it right away because we wanted to make sure all of this was working first
Okay.
before we rolled it out to everybody. But now that it's out to everybody, now we're kind of backtracking and trying to get caught up to, you know, the press that was released.
Yeah.
So when we get comfortable with this, which is gonna be in the next 3 months, see how this works, if we're gonna stay with it or not, then we're gonna send out a full packet. You're gonna get the numbers that you can call on a weekend, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. You're gonna get all of those numbers that you can call. So you don't have to depend on me. Our Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4. Because we definitely answer our phones at midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning. Yes,
2 more questions.
no problem.
Now, because I was late, you can just say, wait, okay? I would understand. But I know one thing that came up frequently was if there was someone off reservation and they needed to be brought home, is that still going to be covered by our tribe?
Currently, right now, that's not something that's covered by the tribe. That's on a case-by-case basis. So I had explained earlier is that we've had members who are just visiting off reservation and they pass away. And when it's a huge hardship like Alaska, this individual is up in Alaska, we go to the council and, you know, because it's a huge expense to fly somebody back. And council's been very gracious of making those exceptions. Unfortunately, the exceptions have gotten a little out of control, and so we decided no more exceptions. But when it's a true exception like that, when it's unexpected, you know, the council has definitely, you know, allowed those exceptions to help with the transportation costs. We work with Craig Harrison to help alleviate those costs as well. So they'll put that into the bill, but like I said before, they will put the transportation, they'll put all these added costs into the statement. We pay our portion, and they eat the rest. So in a sense, your transportation is at no cost, because Craig Harrison has been above and beyond to meet our needs here in Omak. Their prices are increasing though, and they've told us that, and it's happening at the right time, so that now, since we're increasing our benefit, I think it's gonna mirror, and we're gonna be okay.
Well, thank you for that. One other question I wanted to ask was about the enhanced tribal ID cards, and if you don't have time or the council doesn't want you to answer right now, that's fine, but I think it is something important to
Okay.
let, you know, I've asked you at
Okay, so-
committee meetings, but I think it's important to all
Sure.
membership that they know.
Sure, so, yes.
What if you have a tribal member that already has a dental insurance policy and has been paying on it for 20 years?
So, and that's unfortunate. So even currently, right now, if somebody has a life insurance policy and we go to pay that claim or pay the statement at a funeral home and they say they've already contacted the insurance, we do nothing. We don't reimburse, we just don't pay anything. Because they've already covered, you know, that and, you know, thought ahead and did that. And so, I mean, yeah. Any more questions on the life insurance? Okay, so enhanced IDs. In 2008, we were granted the biggest